So Silicon Valley, I'm convinced that it is the epicenter of Babylon. Really, you thought it was Washington, D.C. Maybe that's a close second, but Silicon Valley definitely first. The hidden workforce expanding Tesla's factory. The automaker's urgent upgrade of its Fremont facility benefited from cheap imported workers, but did the companies involved flout visa and labor laws? So this poor gentleman, I mean, it's just sad because he came from Slovenia. Was involved in construction. I'll tell you in a minute. It's just sad. This was 2015, I think was the date. So it says here, there's definitely something wrong. Or wait, no, I went too far. Replacing U.S. workers with foreign visa holders for construction work is an improper use of the business visa. Recruited, I've obviously, this is a long article, so I'm not reading all of it. Recruited by a small Slovenia company called ISM Vizaman, Lesnick, this is Lesnick, 42, and his co-workers were flown into the U.S. for months at a time, housed in nondescript apartments and shuttled at the Tesla plant 6 and sometimes 7 days a week, according to workers and the suit. I saw that happen. They've done that with Filipino nurses, too, at nursing homes. While foreign workers can obtain B-1 visas for supervisory duties, the workers at the Tesla plant were simply installing pipes and welding parts, hands-on work banned by the terms of their visas. It never employed Lesnick, and this is Lesnick, did not control his work and was not responsible for his pay or immigration status, the company said. Tesla expect all of its contractors and their subcontractors to comply with applicable pay laws. The company overseeing Tesla's expansion project, Eisenman, a German-based manufacturer of industrial systems, also denied in court that it had a legal responsibility for Lesnick. And the reason they're saying that is because of this. This is what happened to him at Tesla. So that's who Elon Musk is, okay? I mean, just, all you people that just love Elon Musk, yeah, shows your characters. Just does. So he was doing piping and he fell 2 stories, broke both legs, ribs, and Tesla said they're not responsible. So a little bit more about these workers. They work 5 or 6 days a week, sometimes 7, when deadlines were tight. They said, speaking through an interpreter, they usually spend at least 10 hours on site, and said it was suggested that they work every other weekend. Company vans, shuttled them to and from. Workers were not paid for overtime, according to the men and the complaint. While the pay was better than back home, they received little more than $10 an hour. It wasn't much compared to American standards. The prevailing wage for the sheet metal worker in Alameda County is $52 per hour in pay, plus another $42 an hour toward pension and other benefits, according to California Director of Industrial Relations. Drazen said he spent several years with Vuzim, which is the immigration, outlet that helped get him with the visa. Pulling out his phone, he showed photographs of his house in Croatia, a large 2-story home on a hill with a BMW parked in the front. The wages he earns in the U.S. have created a good life for his family, he said. Whatever we're doing here, it's worth doing. This is a whistleblower, Jay Palmer, a whistleblower against Infosystems, an Indian firm that was fined $34 million for H-1B and B-1 visa infractions infractions, poses for a portrait in New York. Palmer was a former manager, says an employment contractor can make more profit on B1 visa holders. So that's what this guy that got hurt had. And it's all because of outsourcing. So Jay Palmer, who was a former manager, and he's a whistleblower for Infosystem, whistleblower on his Indian technology and outsourcing company, Infosys, said an employment contractor can make more profit on B1 workers compared to higher paid H1B visa holders. For example, a company can charge its client $100 an hour for each laborer under a B1 visa and pay the worker a fraction of the amount, he said. It's extremely simple, said Palmer, now a consultant who advises on companies and whistleblowers. It's low risk and high reward. You know what? It's indentured servitude. It is. I mean, I get that they come here, but we have concluded that there is a widespread abuse of the B1 visa in the Bay Area. Critics say the B1 system appears to be broken, while consular offices check to see that workers will return home. Less attention is paid to the work they perform in the U.S. It's a wonderful world of unregulated visas. By contrast, the B1 and B2 visas secured for Lesnick, that's the guy that got hurt, is far more common. The U.S. issued 6.2 million business visas in fiscal year 2014. It allows foreigners to enter the country for pleasure and limited work purposes, for example, to negotiate contracts, supervise or train U.S. workers in specialized skills, or attend a conference. Eastern European workers at the Tesla plant weren't covered by the visa best known in Silicon Valley, which is the H-1B. It allows a limited number of highly skilled workers, 85,000, this fiscal year into the country. Prominent tech companies have fought for an expansion of the program, saying the U.S. is not producing enough workers with advanced skills. Fuck you, Silicon. I hate these people. These people, they're empty. Again, empty people, like useless, and everything they come up with just enslaves everybody more because they're irresponsible and they're just not right in the head. A labor leader said a local company lost the bid on a project in part because their labor costs and bids were higher. The job would have meant tens of thousands of work hours and valuable training for local apprentices. It killed us. We had so many people ready, willing, and able. There were no jobs, and this guy came here because there were no jobs in Slovenia. He came from Slovenia. Tesla and Eisenman won a preliminary effort to be removed from the lawsuit. So, yeah, it'll go in their favor. What jackasses, really. Just claiming they never employed him. So that's why these, when you have psychopaths that are in our government and heading up big tech, then, they're not going to care what they do to people. But yeah, this is what Tesla does. How nice it is. But there seems to be a regular pattern there in Silicon Valley. Ex-Google and Facebook employee says Silicon Valley's use of H-1B visas is institutional slavery. And also this, women in the online slave market aided by Silicon Valley. Women in Kuwait were bought and sold on apps available on the most popular online platforms. An online slave market supported by Silicon Valley. Immigrants help lead a new Silicon Valley labor movement. This is why Peter Thiel is so close to Trump, because he wants to make sure he can still get his immigrants in his cheap labor. The dark side of Silicon Valley: sex slavery, forced labor abound. Yeah, it's really bad there. That's why I said I think it's the epitome of the devil. Oh my God, this is so effed up inside Silicon Valley's secretive, orgiastic, darker side. Yeah, drug-fueled, sex-laced parties. And I read where it said that many of Silicon Valley's labor workers, are Asian.